Joining us live is Virginia Congresswoman Abigail Spanberger. Good to be with you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Now, Congresswoman, I think, people tend to hear a deal of some kind has been reached and think everything is really smooth sailing from there. But that's not necessarily the case. In fact, the agreement you've reached on funding reduces the chance of a shutdown, but there's still some major hurdles facing Congress. In terms of two deadlines here, we've got January 19th and February 2nd. Can you talk about those?
Absolutely. So the prior continuing resolution that we passed allowed for tiered potential shutdown if we do not have our funding bills in place before the 19th of January. That's when there might be a partial government shutdown. Now, as someone who represents tens of thousands of federal workers, contractors, and small businesses that are wholly impacted when there's even the threat of a government shutdown, I am working quickly and aggressively to ensure that we move past this point of initial agreement to the point where we actually have bill text, a vote in the House, a vote in the Senate, and can send this funding bill to the president's desk, ideally in advance of the 19th of January. And in the event that that's not possible from a timeline standpoint, that we have a continuing resolution and then vote as quickly as possible on that full spending bill.
The margins in Congress are thin, and the Freedom Caucus is a group that normally requires some negotiation with as we try to get a spending bill completed. How are you, or maybe even Republicans, reaching out to those Freedom Caucus members to get them on board?
The reality is that the Freedom Caucus, or at least some of their members, will not get on board. That's just the fact of where we are. Some folks do not see a government shutdown as a threat to our nation's national security. They do not see it as a problem that TSA agents or border security agents or FBI agents or anyone else wouldn't be getting paid, and that the very function of government would come to a halt. And we've heard even members of the Virginia delegation say that. So what this means is those who want to do the business of the people, want to do the business of governing, Democrats and Republicans alike, must come together and vote for this bill. We will most certainly lose some folks on the far right who are just never going to come to the table on a government funding bill, and that's okay. We have the numbers to pass this bipartisan deal, but it's going to take Democrats and Republicans. It's going to take a Speaker of the House willing to bring forward a bipartisan bill, but it'll need both votes in the House and in the Senate to get to the president's desk.